Have you noticed something strange happening in the world? Every day, it feels like society is getting dumber. It's as if the collective intelligence is slowly slipping away. You see it everywhere. People following trends mindlessly, believing anything they read online, and losing the ability to think critically. But why is this happening? Take a moment and look around. Social media has become a breeding ground for misinformation. You scroll through your feed, and instead of valuable insights, you're bombarded with memes, shallow opinions, and clickbait headlines. Is this really what we've come to? The world used to be full of intellectual debates, deep conversations, and individuals questioning the status quo. Now it feels like we're losing our ability to think for ourselves. I know this might sound extreme, but think about it. How many people today can have a simple, meaningful conversation without getting distracted by their phones or jumping to conclusions? We live in a world where instant gratification reigns, and patience has become a rare commodity. People don't want to do the hard work of thinking critically or questioning their beliefs. It's easier to follow the crowd and accept what everyone else is saying, even if it's wrong. What's even more alarming is that this dumbing down isn't just happening to others, it's happening to us too. We are becoming part of the problem. How often do we mindlessly scroll through social media, consume meaningless content, and fall for the next viral trend without thinking about its impact? It's like we've forgotten how to engage with the world in a meaningful way. But what if I told you this isn't some random occurrence? What if I told you this is the result of a deeper issue, one that we can change if we only realize it? This is not just a trend. This is the product of how society has been conditioned. And here's the scariest part. Most of us don't even realize it's happening. So let's dive deeper into why society is becoming more stupid every day, and more importantly, how we can break free from this mental trap. The reason society is becoming more stupid every day isn't just because of external factors like technology or social media. At its core, it's the conditioning of the human mind. From the moment we are born, we are bombarded by messages from society, from our families, from schools, and from the media, telling us how to think, how to act, and what is normal. This conditioning shapes our beliefs and, in many ways, limits our potential. It starts when we're children. We're taught to sit down, be quiet, follow the rules, and conform to what's expected of us. Teachers and parents say, "This is the way things are done. This is how the world works." We don't question it. We absorb it. It becomes our truth, and over time, we stop thinking for ourselves. As we grow older, this conditioning evolves into what psychologists call the herd mentality. It's the belief that if everyone is doing something, it must be the right thing to do. It's following the crowd without questioning whether it's in your best interest, or if it's even the right path. Think about the world of social media. You can watch a viral trend go from person to person, each person copying the next without asking themselves if it's meaningful or beneficial. Why do we follow trends? Is it because we truly want to, or is it because we don't want to feel left out? This herd mentality is one of the biggest contributors to why society is becoming more stupid. We live in a world where groupthink dominates. We're more concerned with fitting in than with thinking critically. Just look at the rise of misinformation online. People share articles, videos, and posts without verifying the facts, all because someone else shared it first. We believe what we see, not because it's true, but because it's easier to accept. Here's a glaring example. Think about the rise of celebrity culture. Millions of people follow every move a celebrity makes, from what they wear to what they eat, and we, as a society, treat their opinions as gospel. These are people who often have no expertise, no training, no qualifications in the topics they speak about. Yet we listen to them. Why? Because it's easier to follow the herd than to critically engage with the information ourselves. When we stop questioning the things we are told and the things we do, we allow the herd to lead us in a direction that we may not even agree with. It's not only dangerous, but it also keeps us small. We give up our power and autonomy. We allow external voices to dictate our lives, leaving our critical thinking and individuality behind. In addition to conformity, another issue that arises is the idea of instant gratification. The modern world has conditioned us to expect results without effort and to get them quickly. Social media has turned us into consumers of quick dopamine hits posts that give us a momentary thrill, but ultimately don't contribute to meaningful change or growth. We are constantly bombarded by advertisements, viral trends, and soundbite news. Our attention spans have shrunk, and our ability to focus on long-term goals has diminished. This isn't a coincidence. This is how society has been designed, to keep us distracted, passive, and dependent on the next thing to make us feel good. But here's the catch. We can break free from this cycle. It starts with awareness. By recognizing how society has conditioned us to think, we can start questioning these thoughts and beliefs. We can begin to break free from the herd mentality. The first step is recognizing that not everything that's accepted as normal is actually right or healthy for us. Just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean it's the right path for you. Instead of following the crowd, take a step back and ask, is this really what I want? Is this the best thing for me, or am I just following a trend? By embracing critical thinking and questioning societal norms, you can begin to see through the illusion of the herd and take control of your own mind. Don't just accept what you've been conditioned to believe. Create your own beliefs. It's time to stop being a passive participant in society and start being the active creator of your own life. The world needs more independent thinkers, and it's time for you to become one of them. If we are to truly understand why society is becoming more stupid every day, we cannot overlook the role that technology and media play in shaping our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. While technology has undoubtedly brought about incredible advancements, it has also introduced a massive shift in how we consume information. This shift is not necessarily a positive one. In fact, it's one of the primary reasons we are losing the ability to think critically and independently. Let's start with social media. Platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok are designed to capture and hold our attention. They thrive on dopamine hits, small bursts of pleasure that keep us scrolling, watching, and engaging with content. Every time we scroll, like, share, or comment, we receive a tiny reward in the form of a notification or a new post. This reward cycle is designed to keep us addicted. But what's more dangerous than this is the way these platforms shape the information we receive. Social media algorithms are built to keep us engaged, but they don't care if the content we see is true or healthy. The goal is to keep us clicking. So what does this mean for us? The content we are shown is not necessarily based on what's accurate or informative. It's based on what keeps us hooked. The more sensational, controversial, or shocking something is, the more likely it is to go viral. This is where the spread of misinformation comes into play. The algorithms on these platforms favor content that sparks strong emotional reactions, not necessarily content that promotes critical thinking or rational debate. So what do we see? Fake news, conspiracy theories, and divisive content spread like wildfire. Why? Because these pieces of content get engagement. They generate more clicks, more shares, more comments, and that's all the algorithm cares about. Consider this. How many times have you seen a headline on social media that looks too good to be true? It's clickbait, designed to get you to click without thinking twice. And then once you click, you're bombarded with an endless stream of content, most of which is either irrelevant, misleading, or outright false. But it's not just social media. Mainstream media is also guilty of distorting the truth. News outlets have become increasingly biased, presenting information that aligns with their agenda rather than offering objective, fact-based reporting. We are now living in an era of echo chambers, where people seek out information that confirms what they already believe. rather than challenging their assumptions. This is called confirmation bias, the tendency to search for, interpret, or remember information in a way that confirms our pre-existing beliefs. The result? We become less open-minded, less willing to in meaningful conversations, and more trapped in our own bubbles. Instead of coming together to have constructive discussions, we argue over trivial issues that don't actually matter. We allow the media to tell us what to think, how to feel, and what to believe. In doing so, we lose our ability to think independently. But there's more. In today's world, we are constantly distracted. With the rise of smartphones and the constant bombardment of notifications, we've developed an inability to focus. Our attention spans have gotten shorter, and it's harder than ever to sit down and think deeply about important issues. How often do you find yourself scrolling through social media while watching a show, checking your phone while reading an article, or clicking between tabs instead of focusing on one task? This constant distraction is not only affecting our productivity, but also our ability to think critically. The addictive nature of technology is now intertwined with the fabric of our daily lives. We've become slaves to our screens, and in doing so, we've handed over control of our thoughts to the companies that create these distractions. Our focus is no longer on meaningful relationships, intellectual growth, or self-improvement. It's on the next viral video, the next trending topic, the next bit of gossip. But here's the most alarming part. We've allowed it to happen. We've allowed our minds to be hijacked by an attention economy that values clicks over truth. We've allowed the media to manipulate us into believing that what's trending is what matters. We've become passive consumers of information rather than active thinkers. So what can we do about it? The first step is to become aware of how deeply entrenched we are in this cycle. We must recognize that the content we consume has a real impact on our thoughts, emotions, and actions. It shapes the way we see the world, and it shapes the way we view ourselves. The second step is to take back control. Instead of scrolling mindlessly through social media or relying on mainstream media for our information, we need to start seeking out reliable sources. We need to read books, engage with experts, and challenge our own assumptions. It's time to stop being passive consumers and start being active participants in our own intellectual growth. You are not powerless in this situation. The media and technology are powerful tools, but they are only as powerful as we allow them to be. You have the ability to reclaim your mind and your attention. It starts with awareness, and it continues with action. As we explore the reasons behind society's increasing ignorance, we cannot ignore one of the most significant contributors, the education system. Over the years, education has evolved into something that seems more focused on creating obedient workers rather than critical thinkers. This shift has had a profound impact on society, causing a decline in intellectual curiosity and independent thought. Let's begin by asking ourselves, what is the true purpose of education? Traditionally, we viewed education as the foundation for critical thinking, personal growth, and intellectual exploration. Schools were supposed to be the places where we developed the ability to think for ourselves, to ask questions, and to challenge the status quo. But today, education has become about following a set curriculum that emphasizes memorization over creativity, conformity over independent thinking. Consider the structure of modern education. Students are taught to pass standardized tests, memorizing facts and formulas without truly understanding the material. The goal is to produce results, not thinkers. We are told to study for exams, not to engage in meaningful debates or dive deeply into topics that spark our curiosity. The focus has shifted from exploration to compliance, and this shift has led to a generation that lacks the skills necessary to critically analyze the world around them. When was the last time you were challenged in a classroom to think deeply about an issue or explore a controversial idea? When was the last time you were asked to question your beliefs and explore alternative viewpoints? For most people, The answer is probably never. The current education system teaches us what to think rather than how to think. It encourages passive absorption of information, but it doesn't foster the development of analytical, questioning minds. This is where the intellectual decline begins. If we do not teach our children to think critically, to challenge assumptions, and to question everything, especially the things they're told, we create a society of people who can pass tests, but who can't think for themselves. The real world doesn't work on multiple choice questions. It's about problem solving, innovation, and creativity. And without critical thinking, we are setting up our future generations to fail. But this intellectual decline isn't just happening in the classroom. It's also a result of the overwhelming focus on practical skills and job training. Education has increasingly become about preparing individuals for careers, not about nurturing a lifelong love of learning or the development of wisdom. While practical skills are certainly valuable, we are losing the ability to think beyond our immediate needs. We have created a culture where intellectual curiosity is secondary to job security. It's also important to recognize the role of technology in this intellectual decline. With the rise of the internet, smartphones, and constant access to information, we've become used to receiving answers instantly. Need to know something? Just Google it. But Google is not teaching us to understand, it's teaching us to rely on quick fixes. We're losing the ability to sit with a question, to search for answers by reading multiple sources, and to engage in deep, intellectual exploration. The ease with which we can access information is a double-edged sword. It's great that we can quickly look something up online, but it also makes us lazy thinkers. Why bother reading an entire book when you can skim through a Wikipedia article? Why question something when it's easier to follow the first piece of content that pops up on your feed? But the most alarming aspect of this intellectual decline is its impact on societal progress. A society that does not think critically is a society that is vulnerable to manipulation. Without independent thinkers, we are at the mercy of those who control the narrative, whether it's the media, corporations, or political leaders. Without critical thinking, we become easy prey for propaganda, misinformation, and exploitation. We've already seen the consequences. Our political systems are more divided than ever, with people only listening to what aligns with their own beliefs and dismissing everything else. This is the result of education failure. People who are not trained to think for themselves are easily influenced by polarizing ideologies, and instead of engaging in meaningful conversations, they just scream at each other from across the divide. So, what can we do about it? The first step is to acknowledge the problem. We need to stop pretending that the current education system is adequate for preparing our children to thrive in an increasingly complex world. We need to shift our focus back to teaching critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity. But it's not just about fixing the education system, it's about fixing ourselves. Adults need to embrace the responsibility of being lifelong learners. We must actively engage in intellectual conversations, read deeply, question our assumptions, and be open to new ideas. We must create a culture that values curiosity over convenience and thinking over compliance. It's time for all of us to take back control of our intellectual development. We need to stop accepting the status quo and start demanding more from ourselves and our educational systems. If we want to build a society that is truly smart and capable of tackling the world's most pressing problems, it starts with each of us, one critical thinker at a time. We've established how society, media, and education have all contributed to a growing sense of intellectual decline. But there's something even deeper that we need to address. The psychological and emotional impact of this cultural shift is profound. It's not just our minds that are being influenced. Our very sense of self is being undermined. And the most alarming part? Most people don't even realize how deeply this affects them on a day-to-day basis. Let's start with the obvious: anxiety. The constant barrage of distractions, misinformation, and societal expectations has created an environment of mental chaos. People are overwhelmed, stressed, and anxious. But it's not just because life is chaotic. It's because we are being conditioned to believe that we can't handle it. In a world where everything is available instantly, where opinions and advice are constantly thrust upon us, it's no surprise that we've become mentally overwhelmed. Our minds are constantly being pulled in 100 different directions. We are told to think, act, and believe in specific ways, but we are never given the tools to reflect or process these constant inputs. When you're constantly exposed to information, without the mental space to process it, your mind goes into overdrive. The result is mental exhaustion. This leads to burnout, decision fatigue, and a feeling of being lost. Many people are living their lives on autopilot, simply reacting to the next notification, the next headline, or the next trend, without ever stopping to ask themselves what they really think or feel. But the consequences of this psychological overwhelm go beyond stress. It affects our self-worth. When society dictates what's valuable, what's cool, and what's important, we start to measure our worth based on these external factors. Social media is a perfect example of this. People are constantly comparing themselves to others, whether it's their friends, celebrities, or influencers. We look at someone else's carefully curated life and wonder why ours doesn't measure up. We start to value our self-worth based on likes, comments, and followers, rather than on our intrinsic qualities and abilities. This leads to a crisis of identity, where people are no longer sure who they really are or what they stand for. They become what society tells them they should be, rather than discovering their true selves. The psychological impact doesn't just affect individuals. It affects relationships as well. The rise of narcissism and self-centered behavior is another symptom of a society that places too much value on superficiality and external validation. People are more interested in projecting an image of success or happiness than in cultivating deep, authentic connections with others. We've forgotten what it means to be truly present with someone, to listen without judgment, or to engage in a conversation that's about real emotions and ideas, not just small talk and surface-level interactions. But perhaps the most dangerous effect of this psychological manipulation is the loss of agency. When you are constantly being told what to think, feel, and believe, you lose the ability to trust yourself. You start to doubt your own thoughts, your own feelings, and your own instincts. The more you rely on external validation and external sources for your sense of worth, the less confidence you have in your own ability to make decisions and chart your own path. This is where true empowerment begins. If you want to break free from the shackles of this psychological prison, you need to reclaim your mind. You need to stop looking outward for approval and start looking inward. Your value does not come from how many followers you have or how much money you make. It comes from your ability to think critically, to feel deeply, and to make choices that align with your true self. Mindfulness and self-awareness are key here. The first step is to begin observing your thoughts. Are they your own, or are they a result of external conditioning? Are you truly feeling the way you do, or are you reacting to something that you've been told to believe? These questions may seem simple, but they can be incredibly revealing. Once you start to differentiate between your authentic thoughts and the ones imposed on you by society, you begin to reclaim your mental autonomy. Another powerful tool is self-compassion. We are often so quick to judge ourselves based on the standards of others. We criticize ourselves for not being good enough, for not measuring up to society's expectations. This cycle of self-criticism only deepens the emotional impact of the societal forces at play. But by practicing self-compassion, you start to recognize that you are worthy as you are, without the need for external validation. This shift in mindset is essential for emotional freedom. In a world that seems determined to make us feel anxious, insecure, and overwhelmed, we must learn to reclaim our own sense of peace and self-worth. The media, the education system, and society in general will continue to try to mold us into what they want us to be. But we have the power to choose our own path. We can choose to step out of the chaos, to silence the noise, and to start listening to ourselves. When we learn to think for ourselves, to trust our own inner voice, and to stop comparing ourselves to others, we will experience a profound shift. This shift isn't just mental or emotional. It's spiritual. It's the awakening of our true self, a self that is free from the constraints imposed by society, free from the manipulation of the media, and free from the expectations of others. If you've made it this far in the journey of understanding why society is becoming more stupid every day, then you're already on the path to awakening. You've started to realize the mental traps that have been set for you by society, technology, and the education system. But awareness alone is not enough. The next step is action, and that action begins with self-education. In a world where information is constantly at our fingertips, it might seem like we already know everything we need to know. We have the internet, access to an infinite pool of knowledge. Google gives us the answers to nearly anything, and yet we find ourselves more confused than ever. Why is that? It's because information alone is not the same as education. Self-education is not just about collecting facts. It's about learning how to think critically, how to process information deeply, and how to understand the world from multiple perspectives. Think back to your school years. How much of what you learned in textbooks was actually useful in your everyday life? The truth is, we were taught a narrow set of facts, but we weren't taught how to think independently, solve problems creatively, or question authority. And this is where the gap in our education lies. We were taught to follow instructions, not to lead with our own ideas. We were taught to memorize, not to analyze. Self-education starts with taking back control of your own learning. It's about recognizing that you are the ultimate teacher and the ultimate student in your life. No one knows what you need to learn better than you do. No one has more power to shape your future than you. The education system may have failed us, but that doesn't mean we have to fail ourselves. The first step in self-education is to start reading. Yes, it may sound basic, but reading is one of the most powerful tools you have at your disposal. Books open doors to new worlds, new ideas, and new perspectives. And I'm not talking about reading the latest viral post on social media or a headline that's only a few sentences long. I'm talking about deep reading, books that challenge your thinking, expand your mind, and make you see things in a new light. Start with the classics. Philosophy, history, and science have shaped the foundations of modern thinking. Think about the works of Socrates, Nietzsche, Einstein, and Fukuyama. These are not just books. They are tools that shape the way you view the world. Self-education is a commitment to lifelong learning, and books are the gateway to that journey. But don't stop at books. The second step in self-education is to engage with diverse perspectives. Our world is filled with people who see the world differently than we do, and the only way to grow intellectually is to listen to these perspectives. This means engaging with ideas that make you uncomfortable, ideas that challenge your assumptions. Conversations are an essential part of this process. Start engaging in meaningful discussions with people who think differently than you. Ask questions, listen actively, and seek to understand. These interactions will sharpen your critical thinking skills and expose you to new ideas that you would never have encountered if you stayed in your echo chamber. Self-educational also means learning by doing. Don't just absorb information, apply it. Whether it's starting a side project, taking up a new hobby, or simply experimenting with your skills, the act of doing is one of the most powerful ways to learn. It forces you to engage with the world, make mistakes, and grow from them. Action breeds insight, and the more you put your knowledge into practice, the more you will understand. The next step is to question everything. The media, the education system, the news. These are all institutions designed to shape your thinking. But if you want to break free from the intellectual prison society has created for you, you must learn to question everything. Ask yourself, why am I being told this? Who benefits from me believing this? What's the other side of the story? These questions will open up new possibilities and perspectives, allowing you to form your own opinions and beliefs, rather than simply adopting the ones that are handed to you. You might be wondering, is this even possible? Can we really change the way society thinks? The truth is, you can't change the world all at once, but you can change yourself. And the more individuals like you begin to question, learn, and think for themselves, the more the collective mindset will shift. True change starts with you. When you reclaim your mind, when you take responsibility for your own education, you will see the world with new clarity. Self-education also means recognizing the importance of balance. In a world full of distractions, it's easy to lose focus. The constant barrage of information, entertainment, and social media can make it hard to stay grounded. But balance is crucial for deep learning. Set aside time each day for focused reflection, time to sit with your thoughts and challenge your own ideas. Limit distractions so you can think deeply, make meaningful connections, and internalize what you've learned. Finally, self-education is about personal growth. It's not just about acquiring knowledge, it's about transforming yourself. It's about becoming more aware of your own potential and your place in the world. The journey of self-education is not easy, and it's not quick. But it is the only way to free yourself from the mental constraints that society has placed on you. It's the path to becoming truly free in your thoughts and in your life. You've come a long way in this journey. You've recognized how society, media, and education have shaped your thoughts and behaviors, how they've led us down the path of intellectual and emotional decline. You've learned that self-awareness is the key to breaking free from the mind's influence. And you've discovered that the first step towards true freedom is self-education. But now we reach the most critical part of this journey, the part where you take action. The truth is, everything we've talked about so far is meaningless unless you do something about it. Knowledge alone won't change anything. Action is where transformation happens. And if you want to change the way society thinks, you have to start by changing yourself. You have the power to reclaim your mind, your thoughts, and your life. But it all starts with the choice you make today. It's time to stop being a passive observer of your life. Stop letting society's programming dictate how you think, how you feel, and how you behave. The media, the education system, and societal norms have one goal: to keep you small, distracted, and dependent. They don't want you to think for yourself, to break free from the herd. But now you know better. Now you know that you are not your thoughts, and you are certainly not the sum of everything society says you should be. You are limitless. So, what can you do right now to begin this transformation? First, commit to daily self-reflection. Take a few minutes each day to check in with yourself. Ask, what thoughts am I thinking? Are these my thoughts, or am I just repeating what I've been told? This simple practice will help you recognize when you are identifying with external conditioning. The more you become aware of your thoughts, the easier it will be to break free from them. Second, start your self-education journey. It's not enough to wait for the education system or society to give you answers. Take responsibility for your own intellectual growth. Make reading a daily habit, whether it's books that challenge your thinking or articles that expand your knowledge. Follow thinkers and creators who challenge your perspective and encourage you to question everything. Build a library of resources that will help you grow intellectually and emotionally. Third, limit distractions. It's time to take back control of your attention. Social media, news, and mindless entertainment are designed to steal your focus and keep you in a constant state of low-level engagement. Challenge yourself to spend less time on these platforms. Instead, spend that time thinking, reading, or having meaningful conversations with others. You don't have to cut out all entertainment, but choose content that nourishes your mind, not just distracts it. Next, surround yourself with like-minded people. It's crucial to have a support network of people who encourage growth, intellectual curiosity, and independent thinking. Cut out toxic relationships that hold you back, that make you feel inferior or incapable. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So choose your company wisely, but most importantly, trust yourself. One of the greatest acts of rebellion you can commit in today's world is to trust your own instincts, to believe in your own intelligence, and to trust that you are capable of great things. Society will try to convince you that you need to follow the crowd, that you're not good enough to think for yourself, that the way to success is through conformity. But you know better now. You don't need anyone's approval to succeed. And remember, transformation is not a one-time event. It's a process, a lifelong journey. Every day is an opportunity to learn more about yourself, to grow, and to become the person you are meant to be. When you stop believing in the voice in your head, the one that tells you that you're not good enough, that you can't succeed, or that you need to follow the crowd, you step into something greater than yourself. You step into your true potential. You become limitless. The world is changing rapidly, and society's descent into intellectual stagnation seems inevitable. But you don't have to follow the crowd. You don't have to be part of the problem. You have the power to be part of the solution, to be one of the few who sees through the illusion and creates a new way forward. So, I challenge you today, take action. Start small, but start today. Commit to learning every day, questioning everything, and thinking critically. Become the independent thinker that society needs right now. Lead by example, and inspire others to do the same. As you step into your power and break free from the chains of society's conditioning, you will see the world differently. You will become the solution, the spark of change, the one who refuses to settle for mediocrity. The more you educate yourself, the more you question the narratives, and the more you trust your own mind, the more you will transform. The truth is, the power was always within you. Society tried to convince you otherwise, but now you know that you are the creator of your own reality. The world may try to dumb you down, but you don't have to accept that. You are limitless. The choice is yours. Are you ready to step into the truth of who you really are?